I am Josh Galindo. I've built several successful businesses utilizing the one tool everybody has, the mind. I am here to guide, coach, and prepare you. We will debate, discuss, and grow our minds together so you can obtain your own success. Fuck average, be legendary. This is my podcast.
All right, Chris Howard here with In the Zone today. We're going to talk a little bit about winning and success in business here with Josh Galindo. Josh,
Yes, sir.
Josh,
What's up,
tell us
brother?
a little bit about yourself.
Man, Chris, what a treat. I'm excited to have you. My name is Josh Galindo. I own a real estate company here in Las Vegas called Galindo Group Real Estate. I am 38 years old, married, got 4 kids. I would argue I'm a serial entrepreneur. I love business. I love talking about business. I love talking how I created the success in my life. And I'm excited to share all that with you guys. But all of it's real estate based. So I hope that you're excited to learn about real estate because that's what I know.
Great stuff. And I think it's super important that you hear it's what's amazing is on social media today is, you know, you're hearing the tips of the successful people that have won in business, their track records. They have amazing success stories, track records of winning. And man, if you pay attention to this stuff and you take notes and you really follow a lot of directions, you're hearing from the horse's mouth of people that have become successful on, you know, what they did, mistakes they made, tips, and so on. That's what I want to talk about today. So let's start off with that. Tell me a little bit about where you grew up, how long you've been in Vegas. Awesome.
Born and raised in Vegas, but I want to capitalize on what you just said there. It's so funny because people are always looking for the easy button. They're like, where's the easy button? I want to push that and become successful.
Yes.
But what's wild is all of us, if you keep hearing the same route to success, the same tools being used to create success. And I like to point out, there's a reason that these different gurus, these different successful entrepreneurs, these different people are saying the same thing. It's because there's only that type of formula that works.
Yep.
There's not an easy button.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying?
It's a grind.
Yeah, it is a grind.
You gotta love that grind.
And you gotta love it.
Yeah.
You know, the Knights just won the Stanley Cup, as you know.
Yep.
Winning hurts. That's what their line was throughout the whole series. Is winning hurts.
Love it.
And boy, does it.
Man.
You know, but if you can embrace that pain and reprogram yourself to understand that in exchange for the pain comes reward, then you stop running from it.
Right.
You know, so we're so programmed instinctually and then based in society as well to run from pain and avoid pain.
Right.
But pain is part of the growth.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I always talked about, you know, growing up in the business. I've been, you know, over 30 years in financial services, built a big agency, got a lot of successful people, over 2,800 licensed agents in
Incredible.
financial services. And, you know, discipline is doing the things that's behind the scenes when nobody's watching. And then what happens is your confidence level and you're so good at what you do, it's almost like that's the earning power of the confidence is what you're doing when no one's around, no one's watching.
Yep.
And then that's how the Knights performed. You know, they slaughtered Florida.
Oh my gosh.
And it was just so awesome to see their preparation.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's, you know, it's easy to, I think what I like to correct from this guru space is, you know, so many of these social media videos are like, you just got to work hard. Wake up at 3 a.m. and work hard. Work hard is such a vague statement. Obviously, you've got to work hard. But what they're really saying and what they should be redefining their statement as is discipline. There's a lot of people out there that work hard, Chris. You know that.
Right.
My landscaper, fucking guy, works hard.
Right.
Doesn't mean it equates to money. Discipline, doing the things that you don't want to do, even though you know they got to be done. To me, that is the definition of discipline. And discipline is the key to success. Yep. Discipline, waking up, consistency, routines, all of that requires discipline.
Right.
You know, so.
I love it. So I want to talk a little bit about, you know, on that discipline thing. You said, you know, people work hard. We can expand on this, but I think that self-improvement is such a important part of winning. And whatever your industry is, you have to know what you're doing.
Absolutely.
You have to get good, and it don't happen overnight. You have to work on self-improvement, and it might be knowledge of your business, knowledge of your industry. It could be your sales skills, you know, communication skills, people skills. no matter what we do, we're in the people business, and you have to get great at dealing with people, and nobody wants to do that. And those are the daily things that it's got to be a routine thing that you constantly work on is your self-improvement in my mind. So maybe you could expand on that a little bit.
I agree with everything you just said there. It's something that I heard and it really struck home for me was there's a reason that a successful guy, no matter what he is, an athlete, an entrepreneur, a tech guy, can walk into a room and we don't have a clue what he does, but you look at him, you go, that guy's got something special. That guy's got energy. And what I call that is becoming a professional. And when you become a professional, which requires you to become such an expert in your space, that you develop a confidence within you that you know nobody on the planet can take from you. And when you know that what you possess cannot be taken from you, you will radiate confidence and energy and excitement and life. There's a reason you and I connected. You walk around with that same energy, and I better be representing that energy in your eyes too, because I know that the skill that I possess, I'm a professional at, which is flipping homes. And you could take everything from me and I could start back over and get right back to where I was. And I'd probably get back faster because now I've learned all the lessons.
Exactly.
And when you have that, the confidence just radiates. It's the people that don't possess that skill that walk around, you could sense that insecurity because they don't know when their next bill is going to be able to be paid. They don't know where their next batch of income's coming from. They don't know if they're going to make it through the month without having to use credit. All of that stuff creates insecurities. And you and I don't have to operate from that space because we are a professional in what we do.
Exactly. And how do you get that? Okay, so if somebody's out there listening, they go, okay, so that sounds great. You know, I used to be an electrician. So, I thought, man, I wanted to have a career. I didn't want to just have a job.
Yep.
And how do I do that? And so, I always talked about, is your opportunity hours. If you think about it, everybody sleeps approximately 8 hours a day. I don't, but most people work 8 hours a day. Well, you got another 8 hours that I call your opportunity hours.
Yeah.
If you don't make something happen in your off hours, you'll be broke forever, folks, because it's tough to make it in today's world with one income, or today a husband and wife, with an 8 or 10 hour day. It's tough to make it. You got to learn how to make more money and create different streams of income. And so how do you get that?
To me, first it's repetition. Whatever you're doing, it's repetition, but it's obsession. Now, I don't, like I mentioned, I'm a father of 4. I'm married. My kids are 10 and under. So I got like the high maintenance version of kids at this stage in our lives. I have 103 real estate agents. I own 84 rental properties. I have 3 Airbnbs. I have a gerbil, or whatever the hell this thing's called, a little mouse and a rabbit. And then I got 7 employees. And then I run 7 businesses out of this thing. People will be like, and I'm really focused on having a social life, sometimes for the social benefit, most times to maintain my clout, build new relationships, meet people. But the repetition is huge. And the reason I rattled off all of those things is I don't do anything but focus on work. I don't segregate my life. Like my kids, we could be coming home from a soccer game on a Saturday. If there's a house that I'm flipping down the road, we stop at the house and check on it. And to me, I don't feel like I'm neglecting or taking anything away from my children. If anything, I am showing them how to be a contributing member to society, and that at all costs you win. Like, man, my dad, they're going to tell stories about me growing up. They're going to go, dude, my dad didn't fuck around. We'd be going to dinner at 8:00 and he'd hook a hard right and go check on a house. My dad was disciplined. My dad sacrificed everything so that we could have a good life. And I always make that statement. I obviously am very present in my kids' lives because with that entrepreneurial lifestyle, it's not that you get to work when you want, not even close actually. It's you get to work where you want. So I work all the time, but in my social scene understands because they're all either on my boat, they're in my big ass cabin in Bryan Head, they're in my Sprinter van, they're all enjoying the fruits of my labor, which I enjoy giving to those things to people. But they understand that if I get a phone call, the whole party stops and everybody's cool with it. And then the beautiful thing is, yeah, it's 8 at night. And yeah, I just had to work. but look where I'm sitting. I didn't have to work inside of a building or at this place.
Right.
So I get to work wherever I want, but not when I want. So repetition and then blending all of your life into your work. Like my kids at one point had walked into every single flip I'd ever done. My kids understand that I bought this house for $150 and I'm getting $1,700 and $150,000. I'm getting $1,700 in rent. I had to tell my kid often to get him to understand what rent was. Like he didn't understand that I owned the house and that basically somebody was borrowing it from me in exchange for rent. You know, so I was teaching him that. My kids, I talk money with them. You know, they start their own little businesses. And so my point is how do you become a professional? Is it's repetition and it's 100% of your life.
Yep.
It's 100% commitment. There's no half-assing it.
You know, and so many people in today's world, especially, so many people think you have to have this perfectly balanced life.
No, I hate that word.
You know what? There's no such thing.
No.
Success and balance just don't mix.
No.
I heard from one of the great leaders of our company. He always said, and just one of the things that stuck in my mind, he said, you got to delegate or stagnate.
Ooh.
You got to learn how to delegate different things. You got employees. You got to have somebody run them employees when you're not here overseeing things. You have you don't go check on every one of these.
Not anymore, no.
30, 40, 50 houses. Somebody's doing that.
Yep.
You might have done it when you had 3 or 4 or 5.
Yep.
But then as you grew it, you had other people doing it, which allowed you to focus more on business to grow more.
Yeah.
That's the whole key.
Absolutely.
You got to learn how to, have monitoring, systems in place to where you're delegating this responsibility to this person and that person, and everything's done, which gives you more of a free life.
Mm-hmm.
And like our team is called Team Freedom.
I love it.
I'm all about freedom.
That's all money represents.
That's it.
People think it's this.
No, it ain't the money. It's the freedom in your life that you could go do whatever you want whenever you want to do it. That's freedom, and that's financial independence, and that's what everybody is fighting for, but they don't know how to do it. They don't know how to get there, and being able to do that. So that quote of delegate or stagnate, it was a big thing to me. Learning, administrative for my business. I never dealt anything with administrative. I always had my staff doing that, and I focused on growing my business, training and developing people, or putting trainings together, and PowerPoints or things, or whatever it takes. Just like your office here, you in your mind seen it and you created it. Now it runs.
Yeah,
that's.
Do you think in pictures?
Oh,
you have a photographic memory,
man.
I think every entrepreneur has a photographic memory because that's what allows us to see it.
Right.
Like I can whatever you've ever wanted in your life. Clearly, that incredible house you just showed me. I bet at a point in your life you saw yourself owning it, and because we think in pictures, you literally saw yourself owning it.
Well, here's an amazing picture. Story I tell every so often, and about that. You got to see it and create it. So first thing I did is I bought this lot up there in Red Rock Country Club. I bought this lot. It was primo lot, overlooking the golf course, overlooking the city.
Yeah.
And then it took me 3 years to put together my diagrams of everything. And so I would go on the weekends. I'd go to open houses. I'd like this bathroom. I'd like this, game room or this. And I probably collected pictures about as high as your books here. And then when it came down to putting the plans together, I just dwindled that all down to maybe 50 pictures. And then I put all this stuff together. I went to an architect, and I sat down with the architect, and he had this big, huge table, and I laid out these pictures, and I showed him exactly what to do. He said, I've been an architect 25 years. Nobody has ever came to me and mapped out exactly what they want.
It was probably a treat for him.
Oh, and plus, that's why it costs so much money to build a house, and plans are $100,000, $120,000 or more, because they don't know what they want. They go to an architect, and an architect tries to show you what you want. You got to go there with a vision and a pictures first. And so anyway, that's your whole point of, you got to see it before anybody else sees it.
Yeah. And I think that's one of my gifts is I can, and one of the ways that I try to communicate to people, this is a good nugget for your listeners, is whatever the goal is. So you sit there and you use your imagination to the max. Literally imagine and visualize it, and keep visualizing it in such deep detail that at some point you're going to feel an emotional connection to what you're describing or laying out in your brain. And you'll feel that emotional connection hit when you get a little stimulation in between your chest and your stomach. And at that moment, stop, screenshot the visual that you are painting in your brain, and then go to Google right away and type in, describe that visual. Josh Galindo driving a white Lamborghini with a black carbon fiber spoiler with blacked out wheels and Spider convertible Lambo, which is a Spider. Type it in and then go to images and scroll until you see what represents your vision in real life. Now you've screenshotted it in time. You print that out. You set it on your desk. I guarantee you 100% of the time that'll work.
That's
because
awesome.
now, it's very difficult to memorize that visual. What you've done is you've captured it in real life. You set it down. And I'm a big believer in putting it. I don't do a lot of this anymore because I kind of have everything I've ever wanted. And I'm better at doing these things. But these are great tips and tools. The goal thing I do still do a lot. But this is what I'm about to describe. This is a great tip and tool for someone getting started. Put your vision board, which I believe in,
Yep.
goals, all those things.
Done them forever.
Yep. And I have mine's out there. Above your bed, in your bathroom, and at your desk. And your subconscious is just seeing it. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I have a pretty good understanding on how to create success for almost anybody, because it's not about the tasks. People think, how do I become a house flipper? I'm like, why the hell are you asking me that question? There's about 10,000 books on how to flip houses that are free.
And
there's
YouTube.
There's a million YouTube videos on how to flip houses. That's not the problem that they're having. The problem that they're having is they don't have the emotional intelligence, the confidence, the self-esteem to get out there and fail. They're like, I want to perfect it on day one. I'm like, so then to prevent the failure, they go and hire these gurus and write them a check for 25 grand. I'm like, you were better off taking a shot at possibly winning and losing 25 grand and learning all the lessons you could ever learn by losing 25,000.
Yep.
You're better off taking a shot because you might have actually won. Then you save money. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, that's your first problem. People ask me, that's your first problem, is that you need to overcome these emotional challenges that you're having. Has nothing to do with the formula.
So when you started, were you in real estate first and you went right into flip, or you got your real estate license and buying houses? What did you do?
My journey starts out, I was a troubled teen, a wildly troubled teen. So much so, and I'm going to cut this story really as quick as I can. I was into drugs, not an addict by any stretch. I actually never liked anything that was addicting because I had such a controlling mindset. I was kind of a control freak. But drugs, selling drugs, obviously sex and alcohol and not going to school. All the dumb shit you do when you're a troubled teen when you're young.
And the point is, you could still make it.
That's what this story is really about. So I was so bad that most of my friends were either going to jail or some were dying from overdosing and stuff. Like I said, I didn't play with that shit, but some were dying. So my mom's like, my kid's either gonna die or he's gonna go to jail. So she hired a transporting service to have me kidnapped out of my bed at 3 a.m. in the middle of the night. And they literally, I woke up to two guys holding my arms. There's zero elaboration to this story. I woke up to two, because I became a transport and that's how you did it. So you walked into the room while they were sleeping. You did your best to, get a hold of them quickly. Anyway, so for me, my arms are both like this. I look up, there's two guys that have got me. Once I came to, after thinking I'm literally being kidnapped for ransom or something, I came to, they're like, listen, this is being coordinated by your mom. You're going to a boys camp for 3 weeks, which was all bullshit to keep me calm. And then, and I'm like, fuck you, and they're like basically don't fuck with me. So it sounds crazy now thinking about it, because none of us would allow that to happen to ourselves, but I gotta remember I'm 16. Okay. So, and I was in some fucked up shit. So a little piece of me was like, I should probably get out of town. So anyway, they put me in 2 knee braces, because on the profile, when my mom fills it out, I was a quick runner. So they put you in knee braces if you run quick.
Oh, shit.
So I waddle down my stairs, get into the back of a rental car. They drive me to McCarran Airport. I waddle through the airport. They throw me in an airplane, window seat, and take me to San Diego. Get out, rental car, cross over the Mexico border. I go to Ensenada, Mexico. I roll up to this lockdown facility that had 18-foot walls. They're still selling me the dream. There's girls there. It's on the beach. So now my temperament's down. You're only there for about 3 weeks. I'm like, fuck, this might be nice. Might be worth going to. Obviously, it was a little disturbing on how my mom did it, but that's what I'm understanding. Okay, so then I go, hey, then we enter the facility, and it was a totally different story. Then I go, hey, can I use the restroom? So they get on the radio speaking Spanish, come get this kid. They take me into the lockdown facility. Guy pulls out a ring of keys, and I'm like, this is not what they described. And we go inside. I go to the bathroom. This other kid that was already enrolled in the school walks up to me, and I look at him, and I'm trying to befriend him. As you know, that's our thing. Let's start making friends because this is new. Kid wouldn't look at me, wouldn't talk to me, and I'm talking normal to him. Not, I'm like, there's something fucking weird here. Anyway, long story short, I ask how long I'm going to be there. They tell me I'm going to be there they take me up to the 3rd floor. They shave my head. They put me in a uniform. And then I go, how long am I going to be here? They're like, it's a results-based program. So it's actually based on how well you perform. But the average time is 16 months. I lost my shit because I'm like 16 months is 16. 3 weeks is a long time. So I was in a lockdown facility. This big-ass dude named Arturo came in the room, picked me up, slammed me on the ground, grabbed my legs, put them behind my head, and put my arms behind my head and said, if you act out again, I'm going to sit on you until you calm back down. So I sobered up very quick, and I was like, all right, I'd fucked up. Like, I knew I'd fucked up. I'd fucked up a lot of, my life was a little bit messed up. So I was like, I'm going to work this program and get out. But long story short, I was in a lockdown facility in Mexico, Ensenada, Mexico, for 16 months. I didn't speak without permission. I didn't get up without permission. I didn't go to the bathroom without permission. I didn't eat without permission. I didn't see another female for 16 months. And I graduated the program and came back and had a ton of tools because basically they teach you, the PSI program, PSI seminars. Yep. That's basically what I went through at 16. Wow. Like the level of deep emotional transformation, which is why I think I'm as successful as I am at the age I'm at. I'm going to summarize this really quick. I came back, I fucked up again, but I had the tools to fix it. And I'm a high school dropout and I didn't go to college. So the only thing that I had was my ambition, my ability to communicate, and my drive. So that's all you need.
That's right.
Being formally educated means nothing, especially in today's day and age. You can go on TikTok and get a Harvard education. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. The access to information right now, nobody's got an excuse to be stupid. Just go to Google and type in your question. And even more now with ChatGPT. You know what I'm saying? Nobody has an excuse to be stupid or handicapped.
Right.
So I was a high school dropout, and then the only thing I knew was an entrepreneurial lifestyle. So my mom was an escrow officer, but that didn't mean much. I saw that she was trying to buy real estate, so I was like, I'm going to get my real estate license. And long story short, I got in bed with the right guys, learned a whole bunch. Market crashed, lost everything, literally lost everything at like 22, which doesn't seem like I'd have much, which I didn't really, but it's all relative.
Right.
I was broke at 22. Like my mom was a tough motherfucker. She lent me 15 grand after I was like growing weed in my closet to survive. And she learned about it. She's like, wow, it's that bad. Cause I wanted to pay all my bills. I didn't want to go bankrupt. So I started growing weed and selling weed. And, she got wind of it and she's like, I'll give you $15,000 to get back on your feet, but I want 10% of my money. That's how gangster she is. Anyway.
Man, what an experience that was. Mexico, Ensenada.
Dude, and I got even more stories. But yeah, that's, but we all got a story. It's how you articulate it.
I love it though, but you could tell whatever you do, you're obsessive compulsive.
Have to be.
And that's a good thing. OCD is not a disorder. I think it's a great thing.
Ooh, I love that.
But you got to direct it to something.
Absolutely.
And if you can direct it to success, unfortunately, some people are out there wandering around and with too much time in their hand, they get in trouble, and that's what happened to you.
Yep.
But if you would have been, growing up, like in an example, what happened to me growing up in Las Vegas, we had a lot of desert, so I started riding dirt bikes, and one of my best friends growing up, at our age bracket, like we're 15 years old, he was number one in the state of Nevada. So I'd go riding with him, and man, I'd be crashing 4 or 5 times a day trying to keep up with him. Wow. And then I'd go to the races, I'd watch him, and then my parents wouldn't let me race, and then my brother snuck me out there, and I never raced before, so I just raced in the novice class, and I won my first race because I'm used to riding with my buddy that's number one.
Yeah.
So, it's all irrelevant. What you're associating with. That's why they say, it's so important the people you associate with, because, your kids, you got to keep an eye on your kids, who they associate with, good or bad, it's gonna rub off on them. And so same thing. And so, man, what a story, and I'm sure an experience of life.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I want to back up a little bit.
Yeah.
So, people out there listening, what are some of the books that you read, or did you, when you first started, that kind of stick out, the most important books that you got a lot of information from?
I read a lot while I was in Mexico, and I don't remember all the titles. I remember 2. but I read a lot. But the other thing was there was a lot of emotional learning, peer to peer. This is still answering your question. The world is always teaching me something. The second you walked in and started talking to Aaron about how you ran your children's teens in a very healthy and productive way, I could guarantee you in 10 years or 8 years when my kids are in their teens, I will look back and go, Chris Howard taught me this. The universe and society and peer-to-peer is always teaching you. It's important, I think, to be conscious of that, because sometimes it's so easy to get wrapped into read another self-help book, listen to another podcast, go to another webinar, go to another self-help, gathering, and you can get addicted to that stuff because there's little dopamine hits that hit when you leave a conversation with powerful guys like us. They feel motivated, they feel invigorated.
Exactly.
That's a dopamine hit, but it's important that you're paying attention to what the universe and society is putting around you, and you're just learning.
Yep.
Like I swear to you, man, I meant that, what I said. I was analyzing you and I was paying very close attention to what you were saying. So I was like, I'm going to implement exactly what he just said when it's time. But so one of the most powerful books that I think everybody on the planet should read is Who Moved My Cheese? Have you heard of that one?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Of course you have.
Yeah.
It's about understanding and embracing change and learning how to pivot in life. Entrepreneurship is all pivoting. Sales is all pivoting. And if you want to live a successful life, it's about pivoting. So that one, and then the 7 Habits of Effective,
highly effective people.
There you go.
Yep.
That one taught me about paradigm shifts. That one taught me about understanding my brain. And how, you've got this guy over here going, wake up, Josh, and this guy over here going, I'm just tired, I don't want to, and there was some things
which everybody deals with every day.
Yeah. So those two things, and then the other thing that I like to, because I'm a street guy. I'm not a street guy, but I would claim to be it, because it's an easy description. I got educated on like the political system by watching CNN and Fox News. I knew they were both leaning one direction, so if I just bounced back and forth, then I'd understand how the Senate works. I understood how the government operated. I learned what the Fed does and his mandates and the things that he's responsible for. I learned all that by reading CNBC.com every single day. I read 3 different news articles. MSN.com, that gets me all my social news. So now I can conversate with you on a social level in the event that that's all you care about. I watch CNBC.com. I read CNBC.com every article. So now if you walk up to me and you go, did you hear that Apple just came out with a new virtual reality headset that's $2,900? I could talk shop about it because I read the article today. Yep. And then I go to LVRJ, which is Las Vegas Review Journal, which is the local news. Now, if you want to talk about how long the parade's going to be for the Stanley Cup winners, I can talk shop about that. And that's the type of educating I've done to make me a better person, emotionally, intelligently.
And when you're around people and you know those things off the cuff, it just makes you more intelligent, makes you interesting.
Yes.
It makes you, people want to talk to you.
Yeah, because I can talk shop.
Forever. You know what? Like, I've been doing Saturday training classes for 30 years. And I would always start my Saturday training. I would read the USA Today and the RJ every day.
There you go.
And I would pick out articles. I knew all the statistics. I knew, and another thing in my business, prospecting is a big thing.
Sure.
And so most people, the number one thing is they're afraid to prospect. They're scared to death to talk to somebody. I always looked at the statistics. I knew the statistics, the average income in America. I knew the average debt a family has. I knew everything about all the financial statistics of the American consumer. And because I knew all that stuff, instead of saying, oh man, I wonder if this guy would be interested, I would say, you know what? 7 out of 10 people hate their jobs. This guy, if he knew what I did, he would want to talk to me. And I'd break the ice and I'd talk to you, and next thing you know, boom, I'd get your name and number because I knew all this kind of stuff, just like you're talking.
Yeah.
You could have a conversation.
Yeah. So that's where I think let's double down on that a little bit. I think that is like so key. There's so many people that can recite the running back of the Chicago Bears from 1984, plus the guy that sat on the bench and bro, you're wasting bandwidth on that shit.
Totally.
Like you should be so intelligent on current news, and not even the dramatic news that like makes people fight and shit, like how the world works, because you can talk shop with anybody. Now you're a person of value,
right?
When you're having a conversation, and it's that same inner confidence, like this fucking guy knows his shit.
Right.
and I want to, and people gravitate to confident people.
Yeah, and I used to what you said about the sports and stuff. I felt sometimes I'd be intimidated by people that all they do is talk about sports. I say, man, what's wrong with me? I don't know all the things about sports.
Yeah, I don't either.
But you talk about business. I know business.
Yeah, let's
I know
roll.
making money. I know how to develop people. I know how to build a team. And
Yeah.
and I finally I got to that point because I would think of, man, these people are like, God, they knew every statistic, and I just like would let that get to me, thinking like, well, maybe I'd better watch ESPN tonight or something.
Right.
Finally, I just said, I don't care what people think. I'm making money. I'm building a great business.
That's right.
And that's what I focused on.
Fuck yeah, Chris. That's
Love
incredible, man.
Love it.
Yeah, no, that I think it's a waste of bandwidth. And I'll have that debate with anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, these guys literally will go to work, likely at work, get off work, and go straight to sports stats. They'll watch games with dots moving. You know what I'm saying? And then they're reading. All that is time, energy, and effort that could be applied and invested in a much more productive way. And and the other thing is, in my opinion, that's another dopamine hit. There's addiction everywhere. That's another dopamine hit. Like, I don't like rooting for any team that loses. And the reason is because I don't want to associate myself with losers. Like, I'm a bandwagon guy. If the Patriots are winning, I jump on their side. I'm not that guy. It's like I'm a diehard fan if they're losing. I don't associate me with losing, man. I'm a fucking winner. So who's the team that's winning? That's the team that I'm rooting for today.
Me too. I'll tell you a funny story. I had a family big potluck, and it was the Seahawks and the Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
So I had my Denver Broncos shirt on, and I'm fired up. I'm excited, and Broncos are getting their asses whipped, right? So it was halftime. I go into my room. I put on my Seahawks shirt.
I knew you were going to say that.
I came out with my Seahawks. Go Seahawks.
You're like, I'm a winner, man. We're winning. And if they start coming back and going back, you guys put the other one back on. That's fantastic. Yeah, no, I really believe in that stuff. Like, that's how serious I take what I program my brain with. Like, I don't want to associate myself with teams that lose. I don't want to associate myself with people that don't vibrate on a high energy, a high level of a high level frequency. The reason that there's a glitch when someone that is operating on a lower frequency is because our frequencies aren't aligning. It's not that I'm better, they're worse. It's just we're literally missing each other. It's a full miss. Like, you and I could talk like this for 2 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Because we're vibrating at the same space.
Right. We have so many experiences that just like one feeds off the other.
Yeah.
And that's how you got to associate. Everybody listening out here, man, you gotta get into some of them kind of groups that are
Totally.
that are people that are up there trying to fight to win, and you just you're amazed with the people you meet and the tips you get and things like that. So,
yeah, the sphere of influence is everything.
Yeah,
who you're hanging out with, you're 100% going to become them. You're either going to go to their you're just going to become them. So you want to be hanging out with a quality group. The other thing that I think is important for the listeners is mentorship. Mentorship is often interpreted as, hey, Chris, I heard you're successful. Will you peel off an hour of your day, Monday through Friday, and talk to me on the phone about how to fix my life? Chris will run from that statement as fast as his legs could carry him. You know what I'm saying? Mentorship is, I think I respect this guy. This guy's doing everything I want to do. I'm going to go into observation mode and start storing body language, the way he communicates, the way he lives his life, and store it as data. Yep. And then I'm going to re-implement what he's doing, and I'm just going to try to be friends with him. Now we're just friends, but now I get to enter into your world because we're friends. So I'm just trying to get you to like me. I don't want anything from you, because here's what people forget too, is I've had 7, 8 mentors, high quality mentors in my life. Not one of them has ever written me a check. Exactly. Ever. Not one of them's given me $5. You know what I'm saying? If anything, when I go to sit down with them, I pay for their lunch to show my gratitude for them being willing to interact with me. But the things that I learned from them by being around them, by being of service to them, has served me, 1,000,000 times fold, over and over and over again.
I love it, man. Well, dude, we could go on and on. We'll have to do this again, but
yeah.
Man, what a great experience here. And people that just like you're saying about the peer of people that you associate with, it's like everybody hits it off. I give an example about it's like going to your sorority brothers. You know the price you paid, what you did, how you did it, and you could just go talk the talk with anybody at that level, and man. So anyway, hey, we're gonna wrap up. What a great job, man.
Hey guys, that's going to do it for today's episode. If you guys want to learn more about the tools, tips, and tricks that I use on a daily basis to maintain my success, stay connected with me through all of my socials at IAmJoshGalindo.